I hope y'all are doing quite good today. I hope y'all have been having a good Halloween. Yes. Okay. Such a chill vibe. That's completely fair. That's what I'm going for. Hello, Robotic. Hello, Lily. I don't know how many people end up joining, but in the end, this stream's pretty simple. Just a nice little bookend to Halloween. Why don't we move? So I will be saying I will mainly be paying attention to the creepypastas themselves as I go along. Nothing mean to anyone here, more just the sense of I need to concentrate while reading, obviously. But I will be taking moments to look at chat whenever I get a chance. Just so, you know, I'm not fully ignoring you guys. Oh, hello, Cat. Actually, let me... Pasta time, indeed. Let me add you as a moderator, actually. Alright. While, Hi, Steel. Hello, Catatonical. Now, seeing as we are... A lot of us are here now. Also, quick thing, I won't be able to read the chat as often because, you know, reading the stories. Why don't we switch over to here? Hello. I'll close the fire until we actually start reading. I hope you all love the thing I threw together in like 5 seconds. Can you tell yet that this was an idea I had only today? Because I think now you can probably tell that this is only an idea I've had today. Like I didn't have this earlier. If I did, this probably would look a lot better. But yeah, I just overall want to just do some reading. I just think I legit I just think this is gonna be like, read us a story, Grandpa Steele. I will kill you. I will kill you brutally and painfully. But yeah. We found a page, only 6 more to go. What? But yeah. That's no way to act, Gramps. I'll fucking kill you, Catatonical. But yeah. So fun fact about my fire here. My good old fire is that if I unmute this, you guys should be able to hear it, but we have fire crackling. Wow, the budget just went up 5 times. All for the low price of not being able to read your guys' YouTube comments. Because you see, if I am not focusing on the Yule logs, then like the Yule logs disappear into the abyss. It's like I like this is so scuffed. Like this is what happens. This is what happens when you try to be a YouTuber with only one monitor. Like this is legit just what happened. The budget is $5. Yep, the budget indeed is $5. And a toothpick. But it is how it is in the end of the day. Unironically, if people actually do like this, I might record, I guess, like, videos of this kind of thing. Because why the fuck not, if people like it. But yeah. I think we should actually, the fire is actually a creepypasta too. That's why it's in an abyss. Yep, creepy fire. Jesus. Now, the first creepypasta we are going to be reading today is Candle Cove. I think anyone who knows what a creepypasta is most likely knows what Candle Cove is. I just thought it'd be a nice little starting point. It's a short and sweet story. Gets people in the mood. Who's your favorite creepypasta character? I don't fucking know. I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna pin a message each time. Just in case someone joins and they don't know what the fuck I'm reading. But yeah. I think it'd be a nice little first story. Hello, Iris Sweet Tea. But yeah, I think it is about time we start reading. Yippee. So I will not be looking at chat as I read, like I mentioned, just so I can actually focus on reading. But without further ado, let me, I guess, begin reading. Sorry if I fuck up a few times. I'm not a professional. I should have put that in the title, but all right. Also, my voice is a bit funky, so I apologize. Once again, I like the idea of this. It's very last fucking minute. Very thrown together. Alright. Net Nostalgia Forum, Television Local. Skyshale 033. Subject, Candle Cove Local Kids Show? Does anyone remember this kids show? It was called Candle Cove, and I must have been 6 or 7. I never found reference to it anywhere, so I think it was on a local station around 1971 or 1972. I lived in Ironton at the time. I don't remember which station, but I do remember it was on at a weird time, like 4 p.m.? Mike Painter replied with, "It seems really familiar to me. I grew up outside of Ashland and was 9 years old in 72. Candle Cove. Was it about pirates? I remember a pirate marionette at the mouth of a cave talking to a little girl." Skyshale 033. Yes, okay, I'm not crazy. I remember Pirate Percy. I was always kind of scared of him. He looked like he was built from parts of other dolls. Real low budget. His head was an old porcelain baby doll. Looked like an antique that didn't belong on the body. I don't remember what station this was. I don't think it was WTSF, though. Jaren 2005. Sorry to resurrect this old thread, but I know exactly what show you mean, Skyshale. I think Candle Cove ran for only a couple months in 71, not 72. I was 12 and I watched it a few times with my brother. It was Channel 58. Whatever station that was, my mom will let us switch to it after the news. Let me see what I remember. It took place in Candle Cove, and it was about a little girl who imagined herself to be friends with pirates. The pirate ship was called the Laughing Stock, and Pirate Percy wasn't a very good pirate because he got scared too easily. And there was Calliope music constantly playing. Don't remember the girl's name, Janice or Jade or something. I think it was Janice. Skyshale, 033. Thank you, Jaren. Memories flooded back when you mentioned the Laughing Stock in Channel 58. I remember the bow of the ship was a wooden smiling face with the lower jaw submerged. It looked like it was swallowing the sea, and it had that awful Ed Wynn voice and laugh. I especially remember how jarring it was when they switched from the wooden / plastic model to the foam puppet version of the head that talked. Mike Painter. I remember too now. Do you remember this part, Skyshale? You have to go inside. Skyshale. Ugh, Mike, I got a chill reading that. Yes, I remember. That's what the ship always told Percy when there was a spooky place he had to go in. Like a cave or a dark room where the treasure was, and the camera would push in on Laughingstock's face with each pause. You have to go inside. With his 2 eyes askew and that flopping foam jaw and the fish line that opened and closed it. Ugh. It just looks so cheap and awful. You guys remember the villain? He had a face that was just a handlebar mustache above really tall, narrow teeth. Kevin Hart. I honestly thought the villain was Pirate Percy. I was about 5 when this show was on. Nightmare fuel. Jaren, 2005. That wasn't the villain. The puppet with the mustache. That was the villain's sidekick. Horace Horrible. He had a monocle too, but it was on top of the mustache. I used to think that meant he only had one eye. But yeah, the villain was another marionette. The Skin Taker. I can't believe what they let us watch back then. Kevin Hart. Jesus H. Christ. The Skin Taker. What kind of a kid's show were we watching? I seriously could not look at the screen when the Skin Taker showed up. He just descended out of nowhere on his strings. Just a dirty skeleton wearing that brown top hat and cape. And his glass eyes were too big for his skull. Christ almighty. Skyshale. Wasn't his top hat and cloak all sewn up crazily? Was that supposed to be children's skin? Mike Painter, 65. Yeah, I think so. Remember his mouth didn't open and close? His jaw just slid back and forth. I remember the little girl said, "Why does your mouth move like that?" And the Skin Taker didn't look at the girl, but at the camera and said, "To grind your skin." Skyshell 033. I'm so relieved that other people remember this terrible show. I used to have this awful memory. A bad dream I had where this opening jingle ended, the show faded back in form, and all the characters were there. But the camera was just cutting to each of their faces, and they were just screaming. And the puppets and marionettes were flailing spastically, and just screaming. The girl was just moaning and crying like she had been through hours of this. I woke up many times from that nightmare, and I used to wet the bed when I had it. Kevin Hart. I don't think that was a dream. I remember that. I remember that was an episode. Skyshale. No, not possible. There was no plot or anything. I mean, literally just standing in place, crying and screaming for the whole show. Kevin Hart. Maybe I'm manufacturing the memory because you said that, but I swear to God, I remember seeing what you described. They just screamed. Jaren, 2005. Oh, God, yes, the little girl, Janice. I remember seeing her shake, and the Skin Taker screaming through his gnashing teeth, his jaw careening so wildly, I thought it would come off of its wire hinges. I turned it off, and it was the last time I watched. I ran to tell my brother, and we didn't have the courage to turn it back on. Mike Painter. I visited my mom today at the nursing home. I asked her about when I was little in the early 70s, when I was 8 or 9, and if she remembered a kid's show, Candle Cove. She said she was surprised I could remember that, and I asked why. And she said because I used to think it was so strange that you said, "I'm gonna go watch Candle Cove now, Mom." And then you would tune the TV to static and just watch dead air for 30 minutes. You had a big imagination with your little pirate show. Ah, what a fucking start to this. I love Candle Cove, man. It's such a good fucking story. I love it a lot. It's really good. I legit still think it is one of the best creepypastas. People do not give it enough credit. It's really simple, but it's really fucking good. I really like it. I don't know about you guys. I don't know. I think it's really enjoyable. What did y'all think? Hope the narration was alright. Just give y'all a minute. Did the whole thing about the show changing depend on age come from a later version? I remember something about teenagers watching something different. What I read, Paradoxy, is the original Candle Cove. So I'm guessing maybe you saw a different version or something based off of Channel Zero. I haven't watched Channel Zero personally, but maybe that's something from there. I don't know. But yeah, what I read is the original Candle Cove, from the Creepypasta wiki, or not wiki, but creepypasta.com. But yeah, no, I still think that Creepypasta holds up really fucking well. I like it a lot. I've always been interested in Candle Cove, even if it was a long time ago. I think there was a whole series on YouTube or something. I don't exactly remember. Cad, what I think you're talking about is maybe you saw some of the clips from Channel Zero, if you're talking about, like, seeing, like, the actual, like, puppets and all that shit moving. I'm thinking you're maybe talking about Channel Zero, but there is a possibility that I think there is, like, a series someone made, like, recreating some moments, but I don't fully know. I haven't looked in the Candle Cove in a while. But yeah, no, Candle fucking... Yeah, I think it was Channel Zero. Yeah, I've never personally watched the Channel Zero stuff. Most I know about it is some, like, stuff like Candle Cove being a part of it. I remember the puppets. Yeah, there. But yeah, fuck. I feel like just using that story as a way to start this stream was like the best way to do it, because everyone loves Candle Cove. It's a classic for a reason. It's just really short, sweet, and simple. I don't know. It's just a really fucking good story. And I feel like there's a reason why people to this day remember Candle Cove. Which is kind of funny considering the plot of the story. But, in any case, that was our first story of the night. Because I have 9 stories prepared for tonight, all ranging in size. And if you guys are able to donate $50, I'll let you guys pick a story for me to read as an extra 10th. But I believe we should start moving to the next story, which is one of my personal favorites from the past. Let me know if you heard this one before. Mr. Widemouth. So yeah, let me know if you guys have heard Mr. Widemouth before. I know some people maybe have. I don't know if a lot of people here know. I fucking adore this guy. I think this creepypasta is really simple too, and it's really fucking good. I don't think it gets the respect it deserves, to be frank. Especially with the boom of creepypasta this era, we hardly see anything about our good old boy Widemouth. Vaguely, well, you don't gotta worry. We're gonna read it. So, once again, get a drink, get some food, and I think we should start our little read of Mr. Widemouth. I hope you all are ready with me, because this one's good. Let me get a drink of water. Stay hydrated, especially if you're going to be talking a lot. And trust me, it helps. During my childhood, my family was like a drop of water in a vast river, never remaining in one location for long. We settled in Rhode Island when I was 8, and there we remained until I went to college in Colorado Springs. Most of my memories are rooted in Rhode Island, but there are fragments in the attic of my brain which belong to the various homes we had lived in when I was much younger. Most of these memories are unclear and pointless. Chasing after another boy in the backyard of a house in North Carolina, trying to build a raft to float on the creek behind the apartment we rented in Pennsylvania, and so on. But there's one set of memories which remain as clear as glass, as though they were just made yesterday. I often wonder whether these memories are simply lucid dreams produced by the long sickness I experienced that spring. But in my heart, I know they're real. We were living in a house just outside the bustling metropolis of New Vineyard, Maine, population around 643. It was a large structure, especially for a family of 3. There were a number of rooms that I didn't see in the 5 months we resided there. Sorry. In some ways, it was a waste of space, but it was the only house on the market at the time, at least within an hour's community to my father's place of work. The day after my 5th birthday, attended by my parents alone, I came down with fever. The doctor said I had monculosis, which meant no rough play and more fever for at least another 3 weeks. It was horrible timing to be bedridden. We were in the process of packing our things to move to Pennsylvania, and most of my things were already packed away in boxes, leaving my room barren. My mother brought me ginger ale and books several times a day, and these served the function of being my primary form of entertainment for the next few weeks. Boredom always looms just around the corner, waiting to rear its ugly head and compound my misery. I don't exactly recall how I met Mr. Widemouth. I think it was a week after I was diagnosed with mono. My first memory of the small creature was asking him if he had a name. He told me to call him Mr. Widemouth, because his mouth was large. In fact, everything about him was large in comparison to his body. His head, his eyes, his crooked ears, but his mouth was by far the largest. You look kind of like a Furby," I said as he flipped through one of my books. Mr. Widemouth stopped and gave me a puzzled look. "Furby? What's a Furby?" he asked. I shrugged. You know, the toy. The little robot with big ears. You can pet and feed them, almost like a real pet. "Oh," Mr. Widemouth resumed his activity. "You don't need one of those. They aren't the same as having a real friend." I remember Mr. Widemouth disappearing every time my mother stopped by to check in on me. "I lay under your bed," he later explained. "I don't want your parents to see me because I'm afraid they won't let us play anymore." We didn't do much during those first few days. Mr. Widemouth just looked at my books, fascinated by the stories and the pictures they contained. The third or fourth morning after I met him, he greeted me with a large smile on his face. "I have a new game we can play," he said. "We have to wait until after your mother comes to check on you, because she can't see us play it. It's a secret game. And that secret game is called advertisements popping up on your screen. Thanks, fucking Creepypasta.com, you fucking dick." After my mother delivered more books and soda at the usual time, Mr. Widemouth slipped out from under the bed and tugged my hand. "We have to go to the room at the end of this hallway," he said. I objected at first, as my parents had forbidden me to leave my bed without their permission, but Mr. Widemouth persisted until I gave in. The room in question had no furniture or wallpaper. Its only distinguishing feature was a window opposite the doorway. Mr. Widemouth darted across the room and gave the window a firm push, flinging it open. He then beckoned me to look out at the ground below. We were on the second story of the house, but it was on a hill, and from this angle, the drop was farther than 2 stories due to the incline. "I like to play pretend up here," Mr. Widemouth explained. "I pretend that there is a big, soft trampoline below this window, and I jump. If you pretend hard enough, you bounce back up like a feather. I want you to try." I was a 5-year-old with a fever, so only a hint of skepticism darted through my thoughts as I looked down and considered the possibility. "It's a long drop," I said. "But that's all a part of the fun. It wouldn't be fun if it was only a short drop. If it were that way, you may as well just bounce on a real trampoline." I toyed with the idea, picturing myself falling through thin air only to bounce back to the window on something unseen by human eyes. But the realist in me prevailed. "Maybe some other time," I said. "I don't know if I have enough imagination. I could get hurt." Mr. Widemouth's face contorted into a snarl, but only for a moment. Anger gave way to disappointment. "If you say so," he said. He spent the rest of the day under my bed, quiet as a mouse. The following morning, Mr. Widemouth arrived, holding a small box. "I want to teach you how to juggle," he said. "Here are some things you can use to practice before I start giving you lessons." I looked in the box. It was full of knives. "My parents will kill me!" I shouted, horrified that Mr. Widemouth had brought knives into my room, objects that my parents would never allow me to touch. "I'll be spanked and grounded for a year." Mr. Widemouth frowned. "It's fun to juggle with these. I want you to try." I pushed the box away. I can't. I'll get in trouble. Knives aren't safe to just throw in the air." Mr. Widemouth's frown deepened into a scowl. He took the box of knives and slid under my bed, remaining there for the rest of the day. I began to wonder how often he was under me. I started having trouble sleeping after that. Mr. Widemouth often woke me up at night, saying he put a real trampoline under the window. A big one. One that I couldn't see in the dark. I always declined and tried to go back to sleep, but Mr. Widemouth persisted. Sometimes he stayed by my side until early in the morning, encouraging me to jump. He wasn't so fun to play with anymore. My mother came to me one morning and told me I had her permission to walk around outside. She thought the fresh air would be good for me, especially after being confined to my room for so long. Ecstatic, I put on my sneakers and trotted out to the back porch, yearning for the feeling of sun on my face. Mr. Widemouth was waiting for me. I have something I want you to see," he said. I must have given him a weird look because he then said, "It's safe. I promise." I followed him to the beginning of a deer trail, which ran through the woods behind the house. "This is an important path," he explained. "I've had a lot of friends about your age. When they were ready, I took them down this path.
to a special place. You aren't ready yet, but one day, I hope to take you there.
I returned to the house, wondering what kind of place lay beyond that trail. 2 weeks after I met Mr. Widemouth, the first load of our things had been packed into a moving truck. I would be in a cab for that truck, sitting next to my father for the long drive to Pennsylvania. I considered telling Mr. Widemouth that I would be leaving, but even at 5 years old, I was beginning to speculate that perhaps the creature's intentions were not to my benefit, despite what he said otherwise. For this reason, I decided to keep my departure a secret. My father and I were in the truck at 4 a.m. He was hoping to make it to Pennsylvania by lunchtime tomorrow with the help of an endless supply of coffee and a 6-pack of energy drinks. He seemed more like a man who was about to run a marathon rather than one about to spend 2 days sitting still. "Early enough for you?" he asked. I nodded and placed my head against the window, hoping for some sleep before the sun came up. I felt my father's hand on my shoulder. "This is the last move, son. I promise. I know it's hard for you, as sick as you've been. Once Daddy gets promoted, we can settle down and you can make friends." I opened my eyes as we backed out of the driveway. I saw Mr. Widemouth's silhouette in my bedroom window. He stood motionless until the truck was about to turn onto the main road. He gave a pitiful little wave goodbye, steak knife in hand. I didn't wave back. Years later, I returned to New Vineyard. The piece of land our house stood upon was empty except for the foundation, as the house burned down a few years after my family left. Out of curiosity, I followed the deer trail that Mr. Widemouth has shown me. Part of me expected him to jump out from behind the tree and scare the living bejesus out of me. But I felt that Mr. Widemouth was gone, somehow tied to the house that no longer existed. The trail ended at the New Vineyard Memorial Cemetery. I noticed that many of the tombstones belonged to children. And that was Mr. Widemouth, one of my personal favorite creepypastas. I love that motherfucking rat bastard. I don't know. It just has some charm to it. I love how much Mr. Widemouth just gets dejected as the fucking story goes on. He's just like, okay, I guess we could do it later. I guess he's a little bitch boy. But I also just I liked the fucked implications that throughout the entirety of the story, Widemouth is just trying to. Well, he's just trying to get the kid to kill himself. Or game end. Because YouTube doesn't like if you say that word. He's trying to get the kid to game end himself. Five-year-old becomes the most rational creepypasta protagonist. Exactly! Somehow the 5-year-old has a fucking brain. Compared to fucking Kyle and Tom from fucking Sonic.exe. Or any other creepypasta protagonist. Which, don't worry, you will see soon that this kid's more fucking thoughtful than most of these fuckers. I have more stories lined up with dumbass protagonists. But yeah, I love Widemouth a lot. I think Widemouth deserves a lot more recognition in this community. He's a really interesting story. Five-year-old with a fever having more self-preservation is crazy. It's not wrong, though. It's not wrong. Somehow this 5-year-old has more fucking self-preservation than most goddamn creepypasta protagonists. It's fucking crazy. Like, legit, how is this kid fucking smarter than these dumbasses, man? It's fucking crazy. But yeah, that one was Wide Mouth. I don't know. Like I said, I like it a lot. I like Wide Mouth a lot. I think he's a fun character. People need to do more with Wide Mouth. But now, we move on to one of the fucking big boys, alright? Like, we had our, like, Candle Cove is still a big boy, but he's not that big. Like, he's not as big as this next one. It's like, we are moving to the big boys. Capital B-I-G. So, without further ado, let's read Smile Dog. Let's read Smile Dog. Dog that smiles. Smiling dog. Dog goes hee hee. Alright. Let's go. I first met in person with Mary E. in the summer of 2007. I had arranged with her husband of 15 years, Terrence, to see her for an interview. Many had initially agreed, since I was not a newsman, but rather an amateur writer gathering information for a few early college assignments and, if all went according to plan, some pieces of fiction. We scheduled the interview for a particular weekend when I was in Chicago on unrelated business. But at the last moment, Mary changed her mind and locked herself in the couple's bedroom, refusing to meet with me. For half an hour, I sat with Terrence as we camped outside the bedroom door. I listened and taking notes while he attempted fruitlessly to calm his wife. The things Mary said made little sense, but fit with a pattern I was expecting. Though I could not see her, I could tell from her voice that she was crying, and more often than not, her objections to speaking with me centered around an incoherent diatribe on her dreams, her nightmares. Terrence apologized profusely when we ceased the exercise, and I did my best to take it in stride. Recall that I wasn't a reporter in a search of a story, but merely a curious young man in a search of information. Besides, I thought at the time I could perhaps find another similar case if I put my mind and resources to it. Mary E. was the CISOP for a small Chicago-based bulletin board system in 1992, where she first encountered Smile.jpg, and her life changed forever. She and Terrence had been married for only 5 months. Mary was one of an estimated 400 people who saw the image when it was posted as a hyperlink on the BBS, though she is the only one who has spoken openly about the experience. The rest had remained anonymous or are perhaps dead. In 2005, when I was only in 10th grade, Smile.jpg was first brought to my attention by my bureau-standing interest in web-based phenomena. Mary was the most often cited victim of what is sometimes referred to as Smile.dog. The being Smile.jpg is reputed to display. What caught my interest, other than the obvious macabre elements of the cyber legend and my proclivity towards such things, I'm bad at reading, was the sheer lack of information, usually to the point where that people don't believe it even exists other than a rumor or a hoax. It is unique because though the entire phenomena centers on a picture file, that file is nowhere to be found on the internet. Certainly many photo-manipulated simulacra, literally leb, showing up with the most frequently showing up with the most frequency on sites such as the image board 4chan, particularly the /x/-focused paranormal subboard. It is suspected these are fakes because they do not have the effect the true smile.jpg is believed to have, namely sudden onset temporal lobe, epilepsy, and acute anxiety. This purported reaction in the viewer is one of the reasons the phantom-like smile.jpg is regarded with such disdain, since it is patently absurd. Though depending on whom you ask, the reluctance to acknowledge smile.jpg's existence might be just as much out of fear as it is out of disbelief. Neither smile.jpg nor smiledog is mentioned anywhere on Wikipedia, though the website feature articles on such others, perhaps more scandalous shock sites as hello.jpg or Two Girls One Cup. Any attempt to create a page pertaining to smile.jpg is similarly deleted by any of the encyclopedia's many admins. Encounters with smile.jpg are the stuff of internet legend. Mary E.'s story is not unique. There are unverified rumors of smile.jpg showing up in the early days of Usenet, that even one persistent tale that is in 2002. A hacker flooded the forums of humor and satire website Something Awful with a deluge of smile dog pictures, rendering almost half the forum's users at the time epileptic. It is also said that in the mid to late 90s, that smile.jpg circulated on Usenet as an attachment of a chain email with the subject line, "Smile, God loves you." Yet despite the huge exposure these stunts would generate, there are very few people who admit to having experienced any of them, and no traces of the file or any link has been ever discovered. Those who claim to have seen Smile Dog often weakly joke that they were too far busy to save a copy of the picture to their hard drive. However, all alleged victims offer the same description of the photo. A dog-like creature, usually depicted as appearing similar to a Siberian husky, illuminated by the flash of the camera, sits in a dim room. The only background detail is that is visible being a human hand extending from the darkness near the left side of the frame. The hand is empty, but it usually described as beckoning. Of course, most attention is given to the dog, or dog creature, as some victims are more certain than others about what they claim to have seen. The muzzle of the beast is reportedly... I'm sorry, I'm shit at reading big words. Reportedly split in a wide grin, revealing two sharp rows of very white, very straight, very sharp, very human-looking teeth. This is, of course, not a description given immediately after viewing the picture, but rather a recollection of the victims who claim to have seen the picture endlessly repeated in their mind's eye during the time they are, in reality, having epileptic fits. These fits are reported to continue indeterminately, often while the victims sleep, resulting in very vivid and disturbing nightmares. These may be treated with medication, though in some sense it is more effective than others. Mary E., I assume, was not on effective medication. That was why, after my visit to her apartment in 2007, I sent out feelers to several folklore and urban legend-oriented news groups, websites, and mailing lists, hoping to find the name of a support victim of a supposed victim, of Smile.jpg, who felt more interested in talking about his experiences. For a time, nothing happened, and at length I forgot completely about my pursuits, since I had begun my freshman year of college and was quite busy. Mary contacted me via email, however, near the beginning of March 2008. Added by Moose Juice. From last summer's interview. Dear Mr. L., I'm incredibly sorry about my behavior last summer when you came to interview me. I hope you understand that it was no fault of yours, but rather my own problems that led me to act out like as I did. I realize that I could have handled the situation more decuriously. However, I hope you will forgive me. At the time, I was afraid. You see, for 15 years, I have been haunted by Smile.jpg. Smile Dog comes to me in my sleep every night. I know that sounds silly, but it is true. There is an ineffable, I'm sorry, once again for my shitty reading, quality about my dreams, my nightmares, that makes them completely unlike any real dreams I've ever had. I do not move and do not speak. I simply look ahead, and the only thing ahead of me is the scene from that horrible picture. I see the beckoning hand, and I see Smile.dog. It talks to me. It is not a dog, of course, though I am not quite sure what it really is. It tells me it will leave me alone if only I do as it asks. All I must do, it says, is spread the word. That is how it phrases its demands, and I know exactly what it means. It wants me to show it to someone else. And I could. The week after my incident, I received in the mail a manila envelope with no return address. Inside was only a 3.5-inch floppy diskette. Without having to check, I knew precisely what was on it. I thought for a long time about my options. I could show it to a stranger, a coworker. I could even show it to Terrence, as much as the idea disgusts me. And what would happen then? Well, if Smile Dog kept its word, I could sleep. Yet if it lied, what would I do? And who was to say something worse would not come for me if I did as the creature asked? So I did nothing for 15 years, though I kept the diskette hidden amongst my things. Every night for 15 years, Smile Dog has come to me in my sleep and demanded that I spread the word. For 15 years, I have stood strong. Though there have been the hard times, many of the fellow victims on the BBS board were when I first encountered Smile Dog stopped posting. I heard some of them committed suicide. Game ended. Others remained completely silent, simply disappearing off the face of the web. They are the ones I worry about the most. I sincerely hope you will forgive me, Mr. L. The last summer when you contacted me and my husband about an interview, I was near the breaking point. I decided I was going to give you the floppy diskette. I did not care if Smile Dog was lying or not. I wanted it to end. You were a stranger, someone I had no connection with, and I thought I would not feel sorrow when you took the diskette as part of your research and sealed your fate. Before you arrived, I realized what I was doing, was plotting to ruin your life. I could not stand the thought, and in fact I still cannot. I am ashamed, Mr. L, and I hope that this warning will dissuade you from further investigation of Smile.jpg. You may in time encounter someone who is, if not weaker than I, then wholly more depraved, someone who will not hesitate to follow Smile.dog's orders. Stop while you're still whole. Sincerely, Mary E. Terrence contacted me later that month with the news that his wife had offed herself. While cleaning up the various things she left behind, closing email accounts and the like, he happened upon the above message. He was a man in shambles. He wept as he told me to listen to his wife's advice. He found the diskette, he revealed, and burned it until it was nothing but a stinking pile of blackened plastic. The part that most disturbed him, however, was how the diskette had hissed as it melted, like some sort of animal, he said. I admit that I was a little uncertain about how to respond to this. At first I thought it was perhaps a joke, and the couple blatantly playing with the situation in order to get a raise out of me. A quick check of several Chicago newspapers online obituaries, however, proved that Mary E. was indeed dead. There was, of course, no mention of offing herself in the article. I decided that, for a time at least, I would not further pursue the subject of Smile.jpg, especially since I had finals coming up at the end of May. But the world has odd ways of testing us. Almost a full year after I returned from my disastrous interview with Mary E., I received another email. From subject Smile. Hello. I found your email address through a mailing list. Your profile said you were interested in Smile Dog. I have saw it. It is not as bad as everyone says. I have sent it to you here, just spreading the word. The final line chilled me to the bone. According to my email client, there was one file attached called, naturally, Smile.jpg. I considered downloading it for some time. It was most likely a fake, I imagine, and even if it weren't, I was never wholly convinced of Smile.jpg's particular powers. Mary E.'s account has shaken me, yes, but she was probably mentally unbalanced anyway. After all, how could a simple image do what Smile.jpg said to accomplish? What sort of creature was it that could break one's mind with only the power of the eye? And if such things were apparently absurd, then why did the legend exist at all? If I downloaded this image, if I looked at it, and if Mary turned out to be correct, a Smile.dog came to me in my dreams, demanding I spread the word, what would I do? Would I live my life as Mary had, fighting against the urge to give in until I died? Or would I simply spread the word, eagerly be put the rest? And if I chose the latter route, how could I do it? Whom would I burden in turn? if I went through with my earlier intention to write a short article about smile.jpg, I decided I could attach it as evidence. Anyone who read the article, anyone who took interest, would be affected. And even assuming the smile.jpg attached to the email was genuine, would I be capricious enough to save myself in that manner? Could I spread the word? Yes. Yes, I could. And that was Smile Dog. God damn, it's such a good story. I like it. I'm shit at reading, but it was a good story. I may be shit, but it's still enjoyable. I apologize for my shitty reading. But I remember it being, not I remember it being bad. No, that's fair. I mean, like, this is the first time I, like, fully, properly read this story in years. Like, I legit, like, am shocked with how good the Smile Dog story was. Indeed, Holiday. Indeed. I'm honestly just shocked at how, like, good it was, though. That's my thing. Like, I legit forgot how, like, pretty good the story was. And remember, like, that shit came out in, like, 2010. That's old as shit. But that was good. I liked it. Though, to be completely honest, chat, it seems that I think I might have, like, expected too much of myself. Because for a while now, my voice has been kind of feeling a bit eh. Don't know why. I'm getting it fixed up now, basically, with, like, some medication. And I think I've read a bit too much. I've been talking straight for over an hour. I'm proud of myself. But, like, it's taken a bit out of me. So I might need to, at least for now, postpone the rest of this stream to, like, another day. Which sucks. But, in all honesty, I'd rather my voice not be screwed up. But, like, I'll probably extend this then to, I'll probably do some more reading on Sunday. If people would be interested in that. Give people some heads up as well. Once again, I apologize a bit. It's just that, like, I don't know. I guess I'm not feeling fully it. Especially since, like, it's the first time I started streaming it a bit. But I do hope you all enjoyed my spooky readings. I am fully gonna do this again. Unironically, I do enjoy this. I hope y'all enjoyed it too. But on some other notes, I'm probably just going to relax for a bit. Try to chill. But I'll talk to y'all later, though. Very much appreciate it. So, y'all have a good Halloween. Since I heard these stories. Yeah. I hope you all do have a good Halloween. A good spooky month. And I will see you all next time. Goodbye, everybody. And be safe, for you never know who's around. Mwahahaha.